Bald and Mullet, these two till the end.
I'm not bald.
It's not Mullet.
Gaming buddies turn podcast kings, talking nonsense about everything. Hair or not, they're the ultimate team. Bald meets Mullet, chasing every dream.
This episode of Bald Meets Mullet podcast comes with a trigger warning. We are covering topics based on men's mental health, self-harm, and other disturbing topics. Hello everybody and welcome to the Bald Meets Mullet podcast with myself, Bilbo Baggins, and Lone Wolf. And today we have a special guest of Darthporker. How are we, gentlemen?
Hello. I'm not too bad. As yourself?
I'm alright, mate, I'm alright. The sun is shining, the wind is blowing, and the hay fever's in my eyes.
That's how it needs to be.
Today, guys, we are going to be talking about men's mental health. We're going to share some stories with you and kind of hopefully encourage you guys, the men especially out there, to kind of go and get help. Men's mental health is a topic that is being covered a lot just recently. As men, we are expected to just kind of get on and deal with it and kind of move on. So hopefully we can help those that need help today, and you can come to us and kind of watch this back and kind of help yourselves or seek help where you need to. So I don't know where you want to start, guys. Who wants to share? Who wants to go through their experiences with mental health and how you kind of got through it? What support networks have you had to go through? What the difficulties you had to struggle? Wolf, do you want to start as usual?
Yeah, why not? So my mental health journey very much started when I was 15, and wasn't a pleasant one. One of the worst ones you can experience. My dad died, and remember it vividly. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. Remember waking up to hear my mum screaming and shouting, and my dad had collapsed and passed away on the toilet.
It's never a good kind of a thing to deal with either way, is it? Regardless of what situation.
No,
a parent.
And that's part of the process. Is, you know, coming to terms with something like that is not an easy journey. And it took me, let me try and think now, 5-6 years. So I was 15, by the time I was sort of 21, 22, I was starting to come to terms with what had actually happened and what went on. And it wasn't an easy journey. I sought help and didn't receive any. I had one of the worst sorts of help from anybody, from social services telling me that I had 2 choices: to be arrested or move out and basically be homeless at 16, to therapists that were sent down to talk to me and ended up talking about themselves. So I did it to get through what I went through. I had to do it the hard way, and as much as, you know, my family were there to support me at the time, it felt like they weren't.
Yeah.
So I relied a lot on, you know, friendship groups and things like that, and if I felt rough or anything like that. But I was a very, very violent guy for a long, long time.
Yeah.
You so much as looked at me wrong, and that was it. Game over. But you start to come to terms with it, and you realise that every day things get a little bit easier. You never forget, and you never sort of move on from it. But it does get a bit easier, and you start to think that, you know, what would they want me to do? So my dad wouldn't have wanted me miserable for my whole life. He wouldn't have wanted me that violent guy that if you looked at him wrong, that was it. He'd want me to do what he did, you know, educate people, help people, and go through all that sort of stuff from there, and not push everybody away. So when I was sort of 20, 21, I started sort of getting into talking to people a bit more, trying to sort of figure out from myself what I wanted from life. And you sort of, when you go through a horrible thing like that, you develop a very dark sense of humour. And it's one of the things that I learned that it's a coping mechanism of sorts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you make the weirdest and wonderful jokes. Some people really don't understand them, and there's others that really, really don't understand them. And then you find a handful of people, and it's I'm 32, 33 this year, and I've found a tremendous support group of people with yourself, Porker, Wonky, Claire, my other half, me boy. You're all fantastic, and the thing is you listen. You don't judge, you don't do anything like that, and that's the thing that a lot of people have the misconception of when you're going through a mental health crisis. Is a lot of people feel the need to try and fix it.
Yeah.
The amount of times I had people turn around and say, "Well, have you tried doing this? Or have you tried doing that? Or what about if you do this? What if you do that?" That's not always the case. Sometimes you just need someone to listen to what you're saying, so you can get it from here out.
I think my favourite one is go and have a cup of tea.
One more person offers me a cup of tea.
I know, whenever you're going for anything, it's go and have a cup of tea, have a walk.
Have you tried talking about it? I'm trying to talk about it.
Do you know what though? Right, and that's a good point. Like if Pork is saying, like go for a walk, but yeah, sometimes fresh air is fucking brilliant. But
oh god, yeah.
It's not. And especially if you're on your own. I mean, for me, if I'm on my own and I've got stuff going on and I'm in my own headspace, that's all that happens in my headspace. So yeah, fair enough. I'm walking. I'm in the fresh air, but I'm fucking thinking.
And that's the problem, is when you're in your own head.
Exactly.
And the problem with blokes especially is we're taught from a young age you can't feel emotions. You've got to be this big brass, hard guy that doesn't feel anything. And when you look at me, I am the epitome of that. I'm 6'4". I'm an ex-bouncer. I'm this guy that you look at and he looks terrifying. You cross the street the other side just to get away from him on a dark night. And actually, I'm a big soft teddy bear. Don't tell anyone that. But all you want to do sometimes is just chat shit.
Yeah.
And just man up and don't talk about it. That's what you get told.
Yeah. It's the get on with it. Suck it up, move on. Now, don't get me wrong, I take that into my own life anyway. I don't do things like mental health days, and that's my personal thing. That's down to me. And I'm not going to ever turn around and say to someone they don't deserve to have a mental health day. Far from it. In fact, if you come to me and say to me, as a manager or whatever, I need a day, I'm going to sit there and say, okay, thank you for coming to me. Take the day, I will deal with it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, a mental health day is sometimes needed. And even if that means you're fucking off to the beach for a day,
yeah.
Sometimes, being somewhere out in the open with family, with friends, is what's needed. Like, sometimes sitting indoors doing nothing is worse than actually going out.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, having a mental health day as well is another topic entirely, because I mean, where I was working, that's another topic of mental health, but where I was working, they encourage us to take like well-being days and stuff, but when you're in a position that I'm in, as in like a middle manager, the chances are you've got all the stuff on your phone that you do to communicate through business. So unless you have to be really strict with these well-being days and kind of force yourself to kind of not be on the phone and not thinking, not shutting off. I mean, for me, to really shut off from work, you need a 2-week holiday, because you need a week to kind of, or a few days at least, to kind of wind down from all the situations that you've been in for the past however many months, and then you can allow yourself a few days to relax, and then by the time that second week's finishing and the Friday is coming, you're already thinking about what's going on Monday when you get back to work. So in order for you to have an actual mental health break or a well-being day from work, you need a decent amount of time,
which isn't always feasible, unfortunately.
No, I know.
At management level.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the same boat. All the stuff for me, we've got WhatsApp chats and emails and all this sort of stuff. So even when I'm away from work on a holiday, I still get messages.
Yeah.
And it's not always an easy task. Like, sitting there and having to answer a phone while you're on holiday is not great. because all you want to do is sit there and do nothing. So I fully agree with you. Sometimes you do just need a good sort of couple of weeks just to sit there and go, thank God for that.
Yeah. Yeah,
See,
exactly.
it's weird 'cause I can just shut off as soon as I leave work or whatever. I'm just done. And I've always been that way, but I think it's come from working in care. As soon as I leave the store, if I thought about it all the time, I'd be in such a bad place.
Oh god, yeah, especially in a role like that as well, right? Because you not only got to think about yourself, you've also, I mean, I know you're not supposed to get a connection with the people that you're working with and places like that, but it's hard not to, right? You're human beings.
Yeah, you do, but like, because I started as a carer at the age of 17, it's like as soon as first month or two, it was a bit hard, and then I just kind of, you put up a barrier.
Yeah.
So as soon as you walk out those doors, that is it. It doesn't matter how many people say passed away or whatever. As soon as you leave those doors, you have to leave it, or else you just end up worse than you was.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of workplaces, I mean, a lot of mental health does stem from work, right? Or mental health issues stems from work, especially if you're in a high stress job. And I mean, when I was going through management training, when I first kind of moved into like a lower management role, they were like, you leave your personal life at the door and you leave your work life at the door on your way out. But I mean, it's not always that simple. I mean, it all depends. It all depends on where, like you say, what kind of sector you're in. I mean, me being in development and engineering as a hobby first and foremost, before I got into working with any kind of technology, is you kind of like doing this stuff outside, and because you push to get to the position where you want to be, or into a role where you want to be, you're already working 17-18 hours, so you're finding it hard to shut off anyway. And at that point, it's not just your mental health that's suffering; it's your physical health as well. Because you know you're going home. So for me, I was in a car for an hour in the morning driving up to Macclesfield, sitting at a desk then for another 8 hours, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, depending on if I was having a release or whatever going on. Driving home, having some food, waiting for the kids to go to bed, and doing it all again. And it's just, like I say, depending on the environment, it's really hard to shut off sometimes, and it just gets on top of you. And I'm convinced all of that pushing is what pushed me eventually to a heart attack.
But then
100%.
you think you put into the stress of that it puts onto your family's life as well. So you're then, say, having failed communications at home, you're working so much, you're always tired, you don't want to do stuff. The kids then become annoying because you just want to relax, but you can't.
No.
Yeah, it's not great. And, you know, people who have never experienced that side of things, especially having mental health with the family on side of it, it's really difficult to describe. So both me and Baggins, we've both got kids or stepkids or whichever you want to say. And you, for example, Porker, you haven't. So for us to try and describe to you,
year-old daughter.
I was just going to say, well, that's...
I forgot about that. No, I do apologise. I forgot about that.
That's when my mental health stems from. Like,
yeah, I was going to say.
Oops, that's foot in mouth syndrome, right? Let me just remove that. But it's so even the three of us together. So, for example, it's a very difficult thing to describe to people who've never been through that sort of struggle. You know, especially when it comes from. I mean, when I was doing the hospitality trade, I was doing anywhere between 15, and I think the longest shifts I've done were 21, 22 hours. Coming home, having a shower, and going back to work again. And the struggle it puts on family life is awful.
Yeah, 100%.
And people who have never been in that, they just don't understand, and you can't describe it to them. And you wish it never happened to them. You really do. You wish that you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy, because it's just awful.
Do you know what I can happily say? Within like the last 3-4 years, it's the only time, for at least the last 15 years, I've actually been mentally stable. And I still have some days when I'm walking to work, and do you know what? I'm like, do I want to look both ways when I'm crossing the road, or do I just step out? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like my mental health, like I went from being bullied in high school, say self-harming, to an abusive relationship, to wanting to end it multiple times and trying multiple times, going to the doctors and asking for help, but getting just told to man up. Then
that's the thing. The doctors are useless. They
No,
are
sometimes
useless.
you have to push and push and push until they even listen.
Oh god, yeah. I remember going to the doctors. With my latest spell of mental health issues. This was a good few years ago now. And you know what she prescribed me? Sleeping pills.
Yeah, just
told me I needed a good night's
push those problems down. You need a good night's sleep.
Yes.
That is what she said. You just need to have a good night's sleep, and she gave me a prescription for sleeping pills.
Just suppress the issue. That's what you need.
Beginning of COVID, I was homeless, sleeping on friends' sofas. Luckily for them, when I wanted to go and do something, they called the police and had the police out looking for me. They dragged me.
You
to
say
hospital.
luckily for them, it's luckily for you, mate.
Yeah, but did you know what I mean? But at the time, it's luckily for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are they going to find? You think as far as they're aware, they know I took a whole packet of sleeping pills with a bottle of alcohol. I mean, it was the best couple of nights sleep I've had in years. But like, that's not the point. Like, after that, my family was like, "Crap, he actually needs help." As much as we've not been listening to him and he's been asking for it, that's how it seemed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
But at least they've realised that, though. At least they've realised and understood that you actually do need some help in kind of progressing where you are. A lot of us don't get that, or a lot of people. I say a lot of us. A lot of people don't get that. You know, and I've been through it. When I've been through drug, well, not addiction, but you know, we've all experimented and stuff when we were younger, right? And I got to a point where like it was not an issue, but the people around me weren't understanding that I kind of needed help to get out of the situations I was in. To the point where in the end, it's just had to be me. I've had to deal with that myself. But you don't come around. You know, it takes you a while to come around to that fact. And it took me becoming paranoid around my friends and stuff to actually look at the situation and think I need to kind of remove myself from that.
it's when you kind of
So
understand.
what is it that drove you to that, though? What stemmed
Oh man,
from that?
do you know what? There's a lot of shit, man. So much like you, mate, around 12, 13, I probably had my first real human loss, and that was my nan. And it was at a time where like kids never really went to funerals and stuff like that. So we were a really close family back then. And this is my dad's side of the family. He's got like 12 brothers and sisters, so we were always round. I know. We were
Broken TV.
exactly. We were always around. Oh no, we didn't have a TV. Remember in the first podcast.
Oh, there you go.
So everybody was always together and stuff around. And then like, when my nan and dad, and I couldn't even go to the funeral. It broke me because we were that close. I mean, when my nan was on a deathbed, me and my cousin, we were there all the time. We were stopping there with her and just watching films with her and stuff and just chilling until like it got right to the end. But then I think because I couldn't go to the funeral, I kind of blamed my mum and dad, I suppose, for that. And that kind of sent me on a bit of a spiral. Started smoking weed. And then, I mean, this was at a time when I was transitioning from primary school to high school, and I got bullied quite badly in primary school. And changed school once in primary school because I got bullied by a teacher.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I know, right? Just what you want when you're in year 2, right? So what, around... how old would I have been? I don't know. So, and yeah, and then...
See, I remember having that when I was in school. I was in year 4, I had a teacher's name was Mr. McIntosh. I'll never forget him. He was a 7-foot tall beanpole of a bloke. And he's sitting there, he's telling us to do maths, and he wanted us to do it his way. So he's doing multiplications, and I'm doing it on my fingers, you know. I'm what? Year 4, so that's what, 8, 9 years old?
Yeah.
And I'm doing it on my fingers, and he gets in my face, and I'm sat on the carpet, and so I told me mum and dad, and my dad, he wasn't a small bloke, he was about 6 foot, but he also worked at the school. I remember him saying, "It's alright, I'll deal with it." This teacher never once looked at me wrong, and from then on, I don't know what he said, I don't know what he did, but he never once looked at me wrong. Again, he barely even called on me to answer a question. It was fucking brilliant.
See, me being so young, I didn't realise at the time what was going on. I just thought it was normal. I was just getting told off for being a little shit, and I wasn't being a little shit. And in the end, she ended up washing my mouth out with soap for no reason, and my mum and dad pulled me out of school. I know.
What
I
the
know.
hell?
In year 2, right? But I didn't realise that that's what had happened in terms of getting bullied by a teacher until I was in late teens. I must have been 20s, early 20s when I found out what had actually happened. So I not had a good experience, and I'm not a little lad. I was always bullied for being big back then, and then the way I dealt with that as I needed an outlet. I had to have an outlet in order to kind of get rid of that frustration because it was building. I mean, I used to cry a lot when I was younger, but crying out of frustration and anger more than being upset.
You don't know what to do with that emotion.
Yeah, exactly. It's just built up emotions. I mean, I get a real weird thing with adrenaline as well. Like after I've had an adrenaline rush, I'll
start going.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm
and then
crying.
the come from that is awful. You sit there and go, oh.
Yeah.
I'm so glad it's not only me.
Yeah. You know what I mean. So I needed an outlet to kind of get, and I started doing kung fu for a while, just as a thing for me to kind of go and do because I'd never really done much up until that point. Like I say, because
So they get me. I was coughing. What were you? What did you go do?
Your mum. Kung fu, mate.
She does listen to this. You better apologise.
Does she actually? Hi, Mrs. Wolf.
Does, yeah. No, it's not Mrs. Wolf. It's Mama Wolf.
Hi, Mama Wolf.
You think I'm bad? She'll have a thing or two to say, so you better apologise.
Is she 6'3" 3/4" as well?
No, she's not. She's about 5'5". If that.
She's smaller than she should be alright.
I tell you now, I wouldn't mess with her.
No, I know. There's a lot. The lot of people are actually quite
My
violent.
dad was the softie.
Yeah. Do you know what? It was the same in my house as well, though. Like my mum sent my dad in, but my mum actioned it. My mum was the actioner of the punishments, and I wouldn't.
This is what you have to say. Here's a list. It's
Yeah.
actually a script.
Yeah.
Read it.
My dad's got the bark, mum's got the bite. But my nan was the worst, though. My nan was the worst. I remember, because I used to stop my nan's every weekend, and I used to have to go outside, play with mates, and come back. And I must have been maybe 3-4 hours late to come in from playing. And this is like, we're talking 9 o'clock at night, and she fucking levered me.
My mom always
I've
says
never
I'm bad
had a
at
harder
work.
beating than I had off my nan. And I say to the kids, I said, you won't be lucky. Yeah, your nan can't get you.
Don't worry, if they misbehave enough, she'll find a way.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, she can't be arsed these days because she's nearly 90 now. But yeah. So anyway, quick back on track. So yeah, I started kung fu just to kind of have a little outlet, kind of get rid of some built-up frustrations and just to be able to kind of defend myself as well, really, because I wasn't really a fighter until like I kind of reached high school, and that's when it all like started kicking off. But yeah, I mean, kung fu it helped me channel the emotions through and kind of deal with it a little bit more until I kind of kept back at the bullies. And when I kept back at the bullies, I lost me kung fu license. But
Yeah, it's a tough
it gave me the confidence that I needed to kind of say no, stop.
And that's
And it
the
stopped.
Thing, is sometimes
It stopped.
And you know what? I've said it for years. Like when I was in school, we were always taught, go tell a teacher, go tell a teacher, go tell an adult.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It
No.
doesn't, because all that ends up happening is you go and tell a teacher, and what does the teacher do? Oh well, we'll talk to them, and they go talk to them. They know where it's come from, and it gets worse.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should deal with it by yourself.
Oh God, no.
In my experience, talking to teachers never works, but the pure and simple reason is that they get the problem of the kids. Talk to them. That problem gets compounded because you've just told them, and it makes it worse.
Yeah.
So
But
just
the way I
find
see
a
it, though,
way to tell somebody.
yeah.
But if you have to, deal with it.
Yeah, the way I see it is, if the teacher's not going to fucking deal with it, I'm going to deal with it, and if I deal with it, that's not going to be a nice thing.
No.
That's how it was when I was growing up. It was like you would tell the teacher, nothing would happen. You would end up keep telling them, and it would get worse. It would get worse. And then you just deal with it yourself, and then you're the one in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so
you're like-
frustrating. Like a lot of schools, I don't know about where you guys are, but a lot of schools around here, they're all like, "Oh, we're very anti-bullying. We clamp down on bullying."
They hide it.
Do you fuck?
They hide it. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So we're so anti-bullying. Our anti-bullying thing is that no. You just push it down to the point where the paperwork is so buried.
Yeah.
You look like you've not got a bullying problem.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a very strong anti-bully policy. No, you fucking haven't. I just had a meeting with you and you told me to sort it out. It wasn't going on. Where I've got kids saying this is going on, you're telling me it's not going on. You know.
Oh, the best excuse they always come over is kids being kids. Bollocks.
Yeah.
Kids are cruel. Deal with it.
You in high school literally turned around and said to me, like, I know you keep coming to me. He was like, just deal with it yourself.
Yeah.
He was like, just smack the biggest one that's hitting you, and it will stop. He was a Yorkshire guy, played rugby. He was like, just smack the biggest one. So I did. I literally punched it, like, straight in the face, one in the back of the neck. He went to hospital, and I just walked off, got suspended for a week.
Yeah, but do you know what though? And it's right though, and that's what it is, and that's why what happened with me back in the school, what we were just talking about, happened because I kicked back for the first time in years and years and years, and it stopped. So I will always tell my kids now, if you're getting pushed around or hit by anybody at school, you fight back, you stand up for yourself. Because I'll tell you now, if once you stand up to yourself, it'll stop. It'll stop. Because they're not getting the effect that they want out of you. They're not getting the reaction out of you. They know they can't see that they're physically making you upset, or they aren't getting the pleasure from hurting you because you've hit them back, and that's shocked them. And I'll always say that, and I've said that since Logan was at school. I said, and the teachers will be like, oh, no fighting. And I said to Logan, I said, if somebody hits you, you hit them back, mate. And if your teacher's got a problem with it, you tell them, come to me.
I mean,
you said you don't ever start, but you finish it.
Yeah. Swan's exactly just said that. Yeah, and that's right. I mean, I've never gone looking for trouble. Maybe when I was drinking, maybe late teens, early 20s, but like,
I was going to say, maybe during me violent years, I went looking for trouble a couple of times, but
I mean, trouble always seems to find me.
Out of my way to.
It always seems to find me somehow, somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will always say to kids, you stick up for yourself. If someone's pushing you around, you push them back, and that's it. I will always say it. But it's not always the case. I mean, I've known, kids that are bigger than the kids that are bullying them, and they've gone into the shells. I'm like, well, you're twice the size of them. You're built bigger than them. All you got to do is push them over.
There's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. It's not because they want to be friends with you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it's so hard. Being a kid is hard.
What makes me laugh though as an adult though is the amount of kids that bullied me in school. That when I started working security, when oh dear God, he's massive, and then come and apologise.
Yeah, of course they fucking did. Yeah.
You're not apologising because you're actually sorry. You're apologising because you think I'm going to beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah, exactly. And at that point, you're like, no, I'm sorry. Fuck you.
But it's surprising because when I turned 18, I was like out because I'm like obviously a June birthday. I'm quite late in the year compared to quite a lot of people. So when I would say go out drinking, it would be I'd meet the people who bullied me out at nightclubs, and they would be buying me drinks, apologising for what they done, which was nice. But at the same time, it was just like,
that's right. Why? You get me drunk and make me remember.
But it's like, why now? Why couldn't you have done it years ago? Do you know what I mean? It's like they kind of finally grew up.
Yeah, and that's it.
What they've done is wrong.
Yeah.
Some people do grow up. And it's the one thing I say to a lot of people is that you've got two chances in life. One of them is when you're in school, one of them is when you're an adult. When you get to that point where you realise you are an adult is when the second stage starts.
Yeah.
And I've had people who come up to me when I was, working the nightclubs and all this, that, and the other. I've gone, oh, do you remember me from school? No. Should I?
Yeah.
And you see their face drop because they're the ones that bullied me.
Yeah.
And they'd sit there and go, oh, well, he must remember me. He must remember me. I'm going to go wind him up. And when you say no, their faces go, oh.
Yeah.
Because they weren't.
That's how irrelevant you were. That's how irrelevant you were. In the grand scheme of things.
And yet, every single time someone's like, I can count on one hand the amount of times people have come up to me and genuinely apologised. I had two guys come up to me and went, oh, can we talk? I said, give me a minute, guys. I'm just keeping an eye on someone. They found me after my shift had ended and waited for me outside, and I thought, oh, here we go. This is going to be fun. And they turned around and went, look, we know we were dicks to you in school, and we just wanted to apologise. Are we able to buy you a drink? I said, look, at this point in time, I don't really drink. And to be fair, it was true. I only drank maybe 1 or 2 bottles a week of beer, not vodka. I only drank sort of a couple of beers a week. And so I said to him, I said, look, all I'm going to say to you is this. You've come and apologised. I thank you for it. Just go and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
Just like leave it at that. You've said your piece, and those two are the ones that stick out in my mind the most because they genuinely stopped everything they were doing when they recognised who I was.
It's like they instantly sober up, isn't it? And they're just like,
Yeah.
I need to go and make what I done in the past right this second.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other ones, you can tell they're not being serious. They come over to you, swigging a drink, a cock of the walk, all that. It's like, no, you're not apologising because you're actually sorry. You're apologising because I'm built like a brick shit house.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You're apologising because you're fear for your fucking life, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I mean, that's fair enough because we're all dicks at some point, Matt. We've all done stuff that we weren't supposed to do or that was a bit out of order, and the fact that people have. Some people have kind of grown up and realised that what they've done was wrong and kind of trying to make up for it is good. It shows that they've grown, right? It shows that they've grown and they've accepted what they've done. And it takes a big
forgiveness from that.
Exactly. It takes a big man or a big person to do that. In my opinion, if you can own up to your mistakes of the past, then. It's a good and bad, but like you say, though, it also depends on the person as well. If the person is an actual Sikh, and always was, then yeah, fair enough. But I mean, I'm happy for you, but you still do.
Yeah, but sometimes it's not. It sounds weird. It's not like them doing it on purpose. They're just taking out their own anger from, say, their home life. Their home life could be terrible.
Yeah.
And that's how they're releasing it because they've known no different.
Yeah.
Nice and safe.
But see, and this is where I differ to a lot of people. I don't see that as an excuse.
It's not an excuse, but it's their release. If that makes sense, because
and I do understand that. I do understand that, the frustration. But if you're taking out, you're frustrating on somebody else the same way that you're having it taken out on you, then
you're no better.
Yeah. And I've had people beat the fuck out of me before, and all this, that, and the other, and it turns out that it's because their mum or their dad used to beat them. It's like. So their mum beat them, and it's fine for them to beat me. Okay, that makes sense. No.
Well, that's the only way they know, though, right? So I mean, it's a whole different story. That
normal.
Yeah, which for me is where I struggle to understand it because I never had that thing when I was growing up.
Yeah, you've been brought up a different way.
Once, and that's because I kicked off at my mum and told her that she was a fucking bitch and I wasn't gonna go to school. And my dad literally he punched me once, and it's the only time he ever laid hands on me. And that's because I sat there and I kicked off at his wife.
Yeah.
The love of his life. Never mind me mum. It was his wife.
Yeah.
And I remember he came in from work. I walked through. I was sat at the bottom of the garden sulking, and he said, "Oh, just come here." I told him to fuck off, and he said, "No, come here." He was perfectly calm, and I walked through the back door, and he just twatted me. And I deserved it.
I
deserved every second of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what though? I mean,
he picked me up, he sat me down, he explained it to me like I was a man as to why he done that, and that was it.
But that's the way that we dealt with things back then, though. Like you and me, we're from a different. Well, I suppose you're just breaching into the kind of pussy era. Like Porker's deep in there. Like.
I'm gonna tell you where to shove it.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like, there's a certain era at the point where, like, people became or parents became pussies.
Now, I'm sure that some of you will
see, it's the generation of I want to be my kid's best friend.
Yeah.
You need to be parent first, friend second.
Yeah.
So you think my mum and dad are in their 70s?
You might actually be a bit different, to be fair, Paul.
Yeah, because your mum and dad are from a different generation. Yeah. So your mum and dad have been in the same generation as my dad.
Would have been what? Mid-40s, 50s?
So my mum had me when I was 40.
When you was 40?
Well, when she was 40.
Fucking job there, mate.
That's clipped.
My mum was 40.
Porker's time travelling, Doctor Who.
So it was like, my dad gave me the belt. Like, he only done it twice, but my mum lathered him for it.
Yeah.
Because my mum grew up in a completely different like my mum's a Londoner. She grew up. They're completely different down there. Like my family that side is completely different to like my family up here.
Yeah.
So my dad's parents, they were brutal. Like they would beat him. They worked on the land all their life, sort of thing.
Hang on. Can we address they've worked on the land? I don't understand.
Like farmers, we're not
Okay.
There's a difference between people.
There's a difference between country folk and city folk. I knew exactly what he meant by worked on the land.
Southern fucking fairies. But thank you.
Like my nan lied about her age to like work on, like join up for like the land army and all that. Like working on the farms and stuff.
Okay. I'm gonna pretend to know what the land army is.
Territorial army, mate.
Yeah.
Part-time army. Okay. I'm with you.
No, mate. I tell you what. You tell a person in territorial army part-timer.
No.
What they do to you.
So my old man served in the forces for 12 years, right? And he's always called the TA, the part-timers. The part-time army.
At least you've explained yourself now.
The on-call army. Yeah, so talking about. I mean, I've never actually got beat. Like, don't get me wrong. My mum and dad have never actually beaten me.
I'm back in.
I've had a smacked arse and a smacked leg now and again, but I've never actually been physically abused. You know, let's just. We're not talking about physical.
Well,
abuse.
I haven't. Like a belt, you know, like.
Yeah.
Twice. You know.
I mean, Wolf's been punched, so you know that's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, and looking back, and even then when it happened, it wasn't a case of he's beating me. It was a case of I did something,
and you deserve it.
It was like I should never have done that.
Yeah.
And he was going to let me know about it. It basically was a case of if I think I'm going to act like a man, he's going to treat me like one. And if another bloke walked up to his wife and said that on the street, what's he going to do? Lamp him.
Yeah.
Well, so he did the exact same thing he would do to another bloke, to me, and I deserved every second of it.
I would
I
never.
was having a argument with my mum, and I called her the C word, and that was it.
I would. So I've never sworn in front of my mum and my nan. My dad I do now because it's a bit of a different situation. But I would never cross paths with my old man because he, like I said, he was in the army. He might be 5 foot, but he's 5 foot and hard as fuck. Yeah, he boxed in the army for 12 years. I'm not messing with it. Even I said to Luke, I said, he's 70. He boxed in the army. Yeah.
This is the guy that don't need brass knuckles.
Yeah, exactly. He's got brass knuckles installed.
He is the weapon.
When he play fights, it fucking hurts. Well, yeah,
I'm just going to jab you in the ribs. Doesn't quite realise actually hitting you hard.
Yeah, and I said, it's this day, like he's 70 next year? Yeah, he's 70 next year. And I still wouldn't fuck with him. No, absolutely not.
So we've talked about my sort of my start of mental health and your start of mental health, and so what about yourself, Porker? What sort of, I don't want to say started you on your mental health journey, but
like as I previously, like being bullied in high school kind of was the start of it. It brings you down to that point where you think, do you know what? Is my life worth it? It's weird. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're just being brought down all the time. So
I get that.
I started self-harming. I got over that. Went to college. It was looking up. I got with my ex, and it was quite an emotionally abusive relationship. It's weird because you don't really hear about men being abused in a relationship.
No, and that's a struggle. That one is that, you know, a lot of blokes won't come out and openly say
I was abused.
I was abused. They just don't.
They don't realise though. I mean, an emotional abuse is completely fucking different. Like, you don't realise it's happening.
No, I didn't realise it was happening until after I got out. So yes, we had a kid. She then got to the point where it was I had to cut my mum off from my relationship, or I wasn't seeing my kid.
Yeah.
So I then moved out with her. We got our own place, and we got worse from there. So it's like my mum would be like, "Oh, can I come round?" And it'd be like, "Well, if she comes round, you're leaving. She's not seeing your kid." Like, well, my kid. And then that's when it started getting worse, and I didn't realise I was in a dark place until she kicked me out, and I was like, "Well, who do I call? I have no one to call. Like, I don't have my mum. I don't talk to my dad. I don't talk to my brothers. It's like, where do I go?
Resisting the urge so hard then to say Ghostbusters. I'm sorry, Porker.
Yeah, but again, you can't call the Ghostbusters to come and help you. But luckily, I had a friend who like took me in, and then it was the whole battle of, well, I wasn't allowed to see the kid. She would not let me, and it just got worse and worse. And as I previously said, like I attempted to kill myself. I'm not gonna lie, I attempted it. And if it wasn't for the friend I was staying with at the time calling the police and getting the police out to look for me, like they had helicopters out, they had like 4 or 5 squad cars out looking for me, and they found me in a wood after I'd taken 28 sleeping tablets and half a bottle of rum. And I was just like, that's it, that's what I want to do. And that's when I hit rock bottom, and I was happily be like, you know what, enough's enough. Yes, I have my daughter, I don't see her, but I will better myself for her in the future.
Sometimes it does need to hit rock bottom before you can start climbing back up again. I mean, hitting rock bottom for any bloke is hard. I mean, for anybody is hard. But for men especially, in my opinion, it's even harder because of what we're taught from a very young age.
We're proud, man.
Especially if
We're proud
parents.
to be there. You know, when my dad passed away, I had. Then when I was 15, I was in work. I was the only one working at the time after my dad died, and I had my aunts and uncles all turn around and tell me I was now the man of the house. I had to go back to work. I had to go back to school. I had to make sure I was bringing food in and money into the house. So 3 days after my dad passed away, I was back in work. And you know, that should never have happened. You know, that's not a support system right there.
You need time to grieve. You need that support.
And that's where it sort of all went wrong for me, was from that sort of area.
The pressure.
And you know, you saying about you went off and you sort of you took your sleeping pills and you went off, and that was going to be it, and you were going to go on your own terms. I remember when it got too much for me, I went and sat on the local bridge and waited for a lorry to come past them. I was sat there, bearing in mind we lived on a bypass, and I was sat there for a good 2 hours, and not a single lorry came past. It was weird.
It was like a signal, like, no, this is not it.
So yeah, I climbed off the bridge and went, you know what? Nah, it's not today. And I'm glad it didn't happen. I'd say, living on a bypass, and you know, for, the town I'm in is a major thoroughfare for heavy goods. I mean, we've got Nestle Purina, which is a massive factory, a food factory that ships across the country in our town, and yet no lorries came past for them. We've got Tesco's, no lorries came past for them. Sorry, bear with me.
It's okay, I fixed it.
Oh, you've got it, yeah.
I fixed it.
And you know, it was a weird one, but that's when you start off and go, right, I need help, and you find some way or another to help, be it through friend groups or through your own actions. And as much as I want to say, I hope you've not been through something like that, Baggins. Have you ever experienced anything along those lines?
No, mate, it's more of a... And if I have been down those lines, it's been more of a cry for help than anything else. There was no real kind of intention other than to kind of outline that I'm in a situation that I don't want to be in, or I'm in a situation that I need help with. You know, it's never actually gone to the point where I've been serious about that kind of stuff. But, you know, I mean, I suppose to have that thought process in your head anyway, on a certain level, you've already kind of got there, but like,
Yeah.
I don't actually think I would have ever have kind of gone through with anything. I think I've swallowed. I mean, I don't know if the kids are on the call, but or on the live, but you know, it's probably some antidepressants. I've done it in volume, but
No, I get it.
you know, it's never really something that I've been serious about. I've always like, I don't know.
Do you know, it's hard when you get to that point where you know you want to do it.
Yeah.
Your whole body's telling you not to, but you're pushing past that part.
Yeah.
So it's like me with the pip, like, how many how you think a pack of sleepers is actually 28 a pack,
Yeah.
and when you get to like 2, you're like, well, I shouldn't be doing this, but then to keep going and keep drinking them down and keep going, you're thinking, do you know what? This is it. I had like, say, my note typed up on the phone, ready to send to people. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. But because I had that one friend who was like, do you know what? No, this is not happening, and called the place to help.
Yeah.
If they didn't do that, would I be here today? Who knows?
No,
Would someone
exactly.
have found me? You don't know. And that's when my like family kind of realised how much help I needed. My mum let me move back in. All my brothers, like my younger brother was in the army. He was based up in Kinloss. They were about to deploy to Cyprus. They let him stay and have a week off to come down. And they all just rallied around me and pushed me up.
Yeah.
And that was like 5 years ago tomorrow since I tried that. So you think, what, I would have been 22, 23?
It's no matter what your age is, it's not an easy journey.
No, it's not. And you know what? I mean,
It's really not.
so it's the S word. It's something that I've got a lot of connection with. Like I had 3 mates all go within space of 6 to 12 months. To that kind of thing, you know. And they were all in my class at primary school, to the point where you're sitting there and you're thinking, is that what's destined for me? Like the 3 of them, literally all within a close friend group as well. They all gone within the space of 12 months, you know, and having to deal with that is a massive thing in itself. You know, that you don't ever expect to kind of go through that volume of loss within a short space of time. And it's quite, you know, I mean, God, it was the year before Logan was born, so that was like 18 years ago now. So you think I was, what, 20, 21? Maybe when
Logan's
that...
18.
No, he was 17 this year.
Ah, right.
No, he was 17 this
I
year.
was like,
Yeah.
I thought he was the same age as mine.
No, wait, it was the year before. It was the year before I had Logan, so it was 18 years ago. No. Yeah, Logan's the same. He's the same age as Scruffy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, kind of having to deal with that. And I think you don't kind of understand the impacts of it until you understand the loss that other people have to go through when that happens, in terms of losing a son, losing a
Well, it's
daughter.
like with mine, like it was very much. I didn't realize how much it would impact my family until they was all around me. Like,
Yeah.
you haven't like played games with my old brother who I play with quite often. One day you might do, but he was very much like, if you ever try it again, I will come down and like beat you myself.
Yeah.
That was his
I'll
response.
finish you off on my own accord.
Yeah, he's like, he was very much like, I'm just going to come and beat you myself if you want to do it. Just tell me and I'll come and do it for you. Like, I'll get
I'll
you that
enjoy it
thing.
more, damn it. Just hang on.
But I mean, that shows you've got someone that cares, though. That shows you've got
Yeah.
someone that cares to kind of actually...
Or if I'm in that place, or I'm not, but if I was, I could pick up the phone and be like, do you know what? I want help. Can you come down? Let's have a drink.
Yeah.
Let's just go out for food, have some fun, talk about it, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise I had that support until I didn't think I had it.
Until you needed his... Yeah.
And then he like opened up about his struggles, and I was like, but you're always perfect. Like, why do you have, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't quite realise that everyone's got their own struggles until they start talking about it. And it sort of like rounds the topic off, really, that, you know, we're 10 minutes to the end of the live. We've all of us have really opened up, not just to each other, but to everybody that's watched. And I'm going to say the same thing to everybody who is watching and who does watch in the future. You are not alone. You have got people out there that are going through the same thing or similar. Talk to people. Don't think you have to go through it alone, because you don't.
There's always someone to help.
And yeah, regardless whether or not you think you deserve to be here or not, you deserve to be here.
Absolutely.
You know, if I had gone through, or Porker had gone through what he was going through, or Baggins had gone through what he was going through, and we actually went through with it, and you know, that was it, so many things would have impacted on after that.
Yeah.
And at the time, you don't think about that, and looking back on it, you sit there and feel how stupid it was of a thing to do. But please, just talk to somebody.
Yeah. Stop and
Be it
think
the
first.
Samaritans, be it, you know, drop us a message on Bald Meets Mullet. We're not going to promise that we could get back to everybody, but we will try and get back to some of you. And you know, we will do what we can. We are all blokes that will support each other.
We are
be it us,
dudes supporting dudes. We are dads supporting dads.
and
Men need
regardless of
the
whether or not
support.
You feel like you're alone. You're not.
No, you're not. And I mean, ordinarily I would go back through the chat. I don't know if you want to take 5 minutes to just kind of go through the chat before we sign off. I know. So Wonky Donkey's not you anymore.
I think we need to, because
Wonky Donkey's not you anymore.
Common, to be fair.
Yeah. So I might reach out to Wonky Donkey after this, but around him and being sectioned on having a mental health breakdown, he's decided to share that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can happen to a lot of us. Let's go through.
So we've got a lot of comments, but people saying like this is a fantastic thing. A lot of blokes need to. This isn't what we're doing it for. We're not doing it for praise or kudos or anything like that. We're doing it to raise awareness.
It's for awareness, yeah.
Even you know, the happiest of blokes on the face of the planet. And if you ever watch us live on our gaming side, you'll see us always laughing and joking. We are often, sometimes the saddest individuals, but we will always all talk out to each other.
Yeah, we do.
So I feel like September's like my worst time of the year. When I feel like it is September. Do you know what I mean? Like around my daughter's birthday, I don't see my daughter. She's 600 miles away. But as soon as it hits around her birthday is when I go quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll find that anniversaries. I'm the same. April the 1st, Mum's
Father's
anniversary.
Day, and I'm like, well, I don't see my daughter.
Yeah.
I was having contact, and then like my child maintenance changed. My ex don't like it, so my calls have stopped.
I mean, Porker, you and me can have a very good conversation and a very in-depth conversation outside of where my kids are listening. So we can definitely talk out of this live and kind of chew the fat around that, because I can probably let you in on some more information, but that's not for this conversation.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what I mean? Like around like that time of year is when I might be laughing, I might be joking, but deep down inside, I'm just like, do you know what? I'm not in a good place.
Yeah.
But I can share with my partner, if that makes sense. I've got a good support system now.
Yeah, and that's good. That's the key thing. Like, is knowing that you've got somebody that you can go to, and the fact that you can reach out to somebody who you know now that can give you the support. I mean, I've got a good support network now. Trina will be the first one. And I've got yourselves, Wolf, Walker. I will reach out to Wonky, and my dad. I've got a support network in place now. Where if I felt the need to kind of reach out about something, I would. And Wolf, you know that we kind of had a bit of a tete-a-tete.
The thing is, you've rung me when you've realised I'm not feeling great, and I rung you the same situation.
Yeah.
And when you've got a good support network in place, that sort of thing will happen. Is they will get in contact with you. But sometimes, even if they don't get in contact with you, it's not a case of them ignoring you. A lot of the time, it's a case of they don't realise.
Yeah.
People are human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's the main part you got to remember, is that even if you are going through something rough, you are not alone, but not everybody will realise you are going through it.
No. And I suppose, so the key takeaway from this is don't suffer alone.
Yeah.
Make sure...
Even if it's just drop us all like a message.
Yeah. We'll always be there to support you guys.
We might even be able to like suggest somewhere you can go, reach out to someone else, give you that push to go somewhere.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sometimes you just need that little kick in the bum to be like, do you know what? You need help. I'll help you, support you to get that help.
Exactly. And you don't always need a conversation. Sometimes you just need somebody to listen to what's going on. You don't want to reply sometimes because...
You don't need a fix at all times. You just need somewhere to vent.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, on that note, Wolf, I think you need to go and brush your mullet.
And you need to go comb your hair, mate.
The beard. That's it from us, guys. We appreciate you coming along, and we will see you next time.
Hang on a second, we've also got to say thank you to our wonderful guest, Mr. Porker.
Mr. Porker, yes, thank you for joining us, sir. He may feature on future episodes.
Take care, guys.
Cheers, guys.
They argue on topics, they laugh and deflect, but deep down it's friendship you never suspect. From console to mic, they're the perfect blend. Bald and mullet, these two till the end.
I'm not fucking bald.
It's not fucking mullet.